Good morning, welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. Time for my monthly roundup. The stuff I listened to in April was a solid month of music, a lot of goodish albums, and some really good ones, great ones if you like, ranked higher at the top. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of each album. I need to make these videos a bit shorter. My roundup ones go on too long. So they're going to be quite short, to the point. I'm going to look at the lower ranked albums in the list. I'm not going to talk too much about them. I'm just going to give the ranking quickly and also just one line. So the first one is Scream Machine, self-titled album. This is okay. I thought it was going to be better than it turned out being. It was a solid album. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't know, it just failed to ignite a real great spark in me. I mean, it nearly did, but it just didn't quite get there. 7 out of 10 is Armored Assault, Blood Queen. The next albums are all 7 out of 10, I should add. Armored Assault, Blood Queen. The vocals annoyed me a bit in this one, very harsh sounding, but the music was kind of cool, progressive thrash metal. Not bad. I listened recently. It's okay. Next one is Arvaland, Theatre of Sorcery. This is another 7 out of 10. It's quite a fun little project, symphonic power metal from France, I believe, but they've got a lot of guest vocalists. It's quite good. It's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's okay. 7 out of 10. Next one is Buried and Oculus Rot. I don't know Buried. I think I might have heard them, but I don't really know them well. They're a death metal band, heavy, thick set, grooving death metal. It's okay, it's good. So another 7 out of 10. Next album is another death metal one. It's Carnal Savagery, Fiendish. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. This one is old school death metal, pummeling riffs. Reminds me a little bit of Bolt Thrower. Solid, not spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary, but I think old school death metal fans will be happy with Carnal Savagery. Next one is Madhouse and Bad Habits. This was quite a fun release. Melodic glam rock stroke metal / metal. Not bad, not perfect, quite long. There's quite a lot of songs on it. Maybe they could have trimmed it down a touch. 7 out of 10 again for that one. Right, moving on to the 7.5 albums, and I'm going to put the covers on the screen for these. From here on in, I'll put the covers. The 7.5s out of 10s. First one is Arian or Orion, I don't know how you want to pronounce that. Vultures, Die Alone. They're a Finnish melodic metal band, quite similar to Dynasty in feel. They're a cool band. The vocalist sometimes annoys me. He's not completely my favorite, but the music is good, well produced, melodic. It's catchy stuff. Next one is 7.5 out of 10 for Bewitcher and Cursed Be Thy Kingdom. Now, this one is an odd one. I wouldn't normally listen to stuff like this, but this one really caught my ear. It's sort of like a retro, classic, blackened metal, if you like. It's quite a fun release. I did quite enjoy this album. It's quite sort of rock and rollish, you know. It's quite groovy, easy to get into, and the vocals are not too harsh, so always helps me in that sense. Next one is a biggie. It's Cannibal Corpse, Violence Unimagined. 7.5 out of 10. This is a regular latter day Cannibal Corpse album. You know, nothing much changes with them. I know it's getting rave reviews, but for me it's just a solid Cannibal Corpse album. It's got heavy production, cool riffs. Corpse Grinder is in fine voice. Just a solid album. Next one is Cathartic Demise in Absence. This one gets a 7.5 out of 10. I've never heard this band before. Very good, fast thrash metal. Very cool riffs, pretty technical sounding, raw vocals. Just a solid release. It could even be an 8 out of 10. I did quite enjoy this, but I gave it a 7.5. Next one is Frozen Crown and Winterbane, 7.5 out of 10. I actually quite like these guys, the Italian power metal. They use growling quite a lot in the past. It's much less on this album. Just a couple of times that I heard the growling. The album itself is not quite as good as I was hoping, but it is good. It's solid. I like her vocals. She's a good singer, the front lady. It's a solid album, Frozen Crown and Winterbane. Next one is Icon of Sin from Brazil, obviously fronted by the world's best Bruce Dickinson impersonator. It's a solid album. It's good, it's melodic. It's a little bit overlong maybe. It could write a more concise album, maybe around 10 songs, 11 max. It's a solid album. It's got good music, and of course the vocals. We've talked long into the night about how they sound. Next one is Maverick and Ethereality. It gets 7.5 out of 10 from me. This album is slightly disappointing, but it's growing on me. I'm a huge fan of the singer. I really like his voice. Just needed a couple of bigger hits to get it to 8 or 8.5 out of 10. But it's still good. It's still very good. One of the best bands from Northern Ireland, actually. So credit where credit's due. Next one is Sweet Oblivion Relentless, the second follow-up album from the project with Jeff Tate. This one will please old school Queensryche fans. Sometimes Jeff's tone is slightly annoying for me. I don't know. Some notes are not, slightly awkward for me on the ear, but this is a solid album. I think it's about the same as the debut. I quite like the debut, it's not really any better, this one. It's a similar offering, even though the personnel behind it is different. Aldo Lanobile from Secret Sphere wrote this one, and the first one was written by Simone Mularoni from DGM. Next album is Temple Balls and Pyramide, another 7.5 out of 10 album. I like this. They're basically a Heat clone, something like that. Heat from Sweden. They're getting there. Really solid. The singer, he's just not, wowing me with his tone. He sounds slightly awkward. I don't know. He's there, getting there, but. For a band from Latvia of all places, they really got a good sound going on, and they're getting there. Next one is another 7.5 out of 10 album. It's Void Vata and Great Fear Rising. This is an interesting band. I've never heard of them before. They're like a sort of rock and roll retro metal album. It's quite fun, really. It's got some quite cool feel, cool vocals. Sort of like a mix between rock and roll and metal and hard rock. It's a cool album. I really enjoy this one. 7.5 out of 10. Right, moving on to the 8 out of 10s. First one is Dissensum and Conjure Possessions. It's an EP. It's nearly half an hour long, so it's not quite an album, yeah. This is killer. I love this one. This is technical death metal, a lot of melody in it, just great cool ideas. Very cool album. Next one is another 8 out of 10. It's Nseeker and Mount Carcass. Again, it's a death metal one, old school death metal. Death metal's been good to me this month, quite a few albums popping up. The sound is very crisp, very modern. It does have that slight HM2 sound, but not hugely, you know, it's not like pervading in like some other bands. It's got a great feel, stomping riffs. It's just a very cool effort by Nseeker. Right, next album is the big surprise of the month. It's Greta Van Fleet, The Battle at Garden's Gate. This is a big surprise for me. I didn't expect to like this even. I didn't expect to try the album, never mind like it, because I've never really gotten into anything that I've heard from them in the past. Or granted, I haven't heard any full albums, but this was a big surprise. I mean, some of the songs on this are really cool, really mesmerizing. His voice is like, at first it sort of strikes you. It's like, how is this guy singing like this? It's like he's very high pitched, very sort of nasally. But then he starts to, get under your skin with his melodies. I mean, his songs become really, really quite cool. About 4 or 5 really cool, great songs. Really enjoyable. Some of them are a bit meandering, so I'm not a huge fan of some of the songs, but overall I can't deny that it's a great album. Next one is Hatalom and Oculism. 8 out of 10 for this unknown band. Again, this is a death metal release. This is great stuff, melodic, technical death metal. I mean, it's got a lot of great feel, great crisp riffing, really melodic, catchy stuff. Hatalom Oculism, give it a chance. Next album is another 8 out of 10 album. It's Infinite and Divine and Silver Lining. This is a project between 2 people from Sweden, a lady, Tezzy her name is, and the Swedish guy, I can't remember his name. Her vocals are very good for the most part. Couple of the lines, I don't know, her accent shines through a bit, and I don't know, it just doesn't sound quite right for me. The music is very nice, very melodic, especially the keyboard sound, which is really, really nice. And it's balanced really well with the guitar sound. It's a really cool album. Next album is Navarm and Cursed Land. I don't know how you pronounce their name. Navarm. Another 8 out of 10 album, this one. This is death metal again. A little bit like the band Death. Some great melodic riffs. Very good death vocals. Very deep growling, just the way I like it. Good instrumentation. Great balance, great riffs, really cool drumming. Very unknown probably band. I mean, Navarm, who's ever heard of them? Just come across them and just wowed by the album. Very nice. 2 albums to mention now. 8.5 out of 10 for Robbie LeBlanc and Double Trouble. Robbie, he's just a man when it comes to AOR vocals. He's the king of AOR vocals. This is a very poppy sounding album. It's sort of slightly high tech in places. I still love it though. I still love the way Robbie sings, the backing vocals from Steve Overland, the guitar riffs, the guitar solos from Tommy Dananda. This is just a great listen. I mean, I really, really enjoyed this album. And I did a full review for it as well, of course. But my number 1 album of April, by a smidgen. I didn't know which one to place number 1 between this and Robbie, but I gave it to my man, Mr. Blaze Bayley, and the album War Within Me. I mean, he really knocked it out of the park with this album. This is a great follow-up to the Infinite Entanglement trilogy. The songwriting is more concise. It's more melodic, it's heavy. There's a strong iced earth flavour in some of the riffing, lots of galloping riffs. There is, of course, some Maiden in the riffage as well. Blaze's vocals are on top form. The solos are really good. The songs are really compact, really melodic. Chris Appleton, he's a great songwriting partner for Blaze. I mean, I was hopeful that this was going to be a good album, but this has really surpassed my expectations. So, and I'm not just saying that, I mean, it really is a good solid heavy metal album. It's one of Blaze's best in his discography. I mean, he's got 10-11 albums now, and you know, this is easily in the top 3. This is that good. I gave this one a 9 out of 10. Could give it 9.5, but I don't want to go overboard, so 9 out of 10 is fair enough. Well done, Blaze. You're the album of the month for April for me, in any case. Anyway, okay, let's talk a little bit about what's left to come. There's a few albums released very late in April that just didn't have time to listen to. These albums are going to have to go into May's list. Poverty's No Crime, A Secret to Hide, Axe Witch, Out of the Ashes into the Fire, Bloody Hell, The Bloodening, Evil, Hell Unleashed. I'm really looking forward to that Evil one. Ironbound, The Lightbringer. This one was a good one. This was like a Polish Iron Maiden style band. Kuan Ring, Neon Nights. This was an underground one, sounded quite cool. And then you've got the stuff that's actually coming out in May. You got Artillery's X album, Marius Danielson's Legend of Valley Doom, the Part 3, Solstice, Casting the Die. This sounded really good. Against the Evil, End of the Line. This was an Indian heavy metal band. Sunrise, Equilibria. I did a reaction to that one. Great Master, Thy Harbour Inn, another of my reactions. Vulture, Dealing Death was good. Bloodbound is out very late in the month again, so I don't know if there'll be enough time for it to feature in May's list, or it will have to go into June again. Disending, Needles of Rust, War Drum, Mavericks, that sounded good. Sonic Haven, Vagabond sounded good. That's out in the middle of the month. Robbie McCauley, Standing on the Edge. This sounded really good. Really looking forward to that. Frost, Day and Age, prog rock. Herman Frank's album, Two for a Lie. Nergard, Eternal White. Proud, Second Act. This album is produced by Eric Martinson, so I always look out for anything Eric related. Yeah, a couple more as well, but that's about it for the roundup for May and what's coming up. The roundup for April, I should say, and what's coming up in May. So, okay, hope you enjoyed this roundup. Find a few albums to check out from April. I'm sure most people have heard some of these anyway, but there's a few in there that you might want to check out. Okay, stay tuned.